If you like my dad's videos, please subscribe to QA Insights channel.
Welcome to Learn JMeter series. In this season 4, episode 8, we are going to see about JSR223 variables part 2. Today we are going to cover sample result, sampler, log and label in JSR223 variables section. First, let us begin with sample result. So this is the pointer to the current sample result. If you want to interact with the results of the sampler, then you can make use of this sample result class. It holds the various information about the sample of an entry, and you can get all the methods and classes in the particular link. So I will post this link in the video description. You can check it out. Next, we are going to see about sampler. So just pointer to the current sampler. So again, there are a lot of classes and methods in this particular variable sampler. So we are going to see that as well in the demo section. Next, we are going to see about logging. JMeter uses a simple logging facade for Java, SLF4J. We have already seen log.info, log.debug, those kind of small logging related statements. But we are going to see a little bit more about logging in this video. And at last, we are going to see about the label. So this label variable will just print or you can read the sampler label name. So this label you can use anywhere in your JSR223 script. So now let us go with the quick demo and see about sampler result, log and other stuffs. And also we are going to see about previous post processor and preprocessor for the sampler. In the left side, we have the simple JMeter test plan. First, let us see about the sample result. Sample result, either you can read or you can write. First, let us see what details you can read. Of course, this is very subset of the methods available. For more methods and classes, you can refer the link. So here we are reading the sample label name and then start time, response code of this sampler and response message and the sample count. So when you run this code, it will just print the values in the console. But if you want to modify some of the attributes, definitely you can do that using the set method. So here we are changing the label name, and we are changing the start time, and we are changing the response code, response message and the sample count. So if I run this piece, you can see the output. First it is printing the label name, start time, response code, etc. And then here you can see the modified sampler label, modified time in milliseconds, and then 404 again it is modified, and modified response message and the sample count. So like this you can either read or you can write the sample result. So next, let us see about the sampler. Let me disable this and enable the sampler. So here we are using the preprocessor JSR223 sampler. So if you want to use the preprocessor, you can see you will get the sampler variables. So this one will help you to interact with the sampler which we are going to process. So in this case, we are going to process the HTTP request. So using the preprocessor, we are trying to read the domain name, port number and the protocol. Not even read. If you want to modify some of the attributes, you can do that using the set method. So here if you see the get domain, which is example.com, but this preprocessor will modify the domain to bing.com. Similarly, you can modify the protocol, port number and auto redirects we are setting to true. And again we are printing the domain name, which should be bing.com, and get port, which should be 443, and get protocol should be HTTPS. So if I run this particular piece of code, you can see first it is printing the example.com, and then it is modifying the domain name to bing.com. And if you see the output in the HTTP request, you can see bing.com, because using the preprocessor, we have modified the domain name, port number and the protocol. Similarly, we have the post processor JSR223. So if we enable this particular piece of code, you can see there is a new variable called prev, which stands for previous. So this one will help you to print the previous sampler details. So the previous in the sense, the scope should be the any sampler, but which will be executed after that particular sampler being executed. So it's a post processor. So here we are getting the label name and then data, start time, response code, get URL, and whether it is successful or not, sample count, everything. So this one will execute after this dummy sampler being sent and received. So if I execute this particular piece of code, you can see the data of the particular sampler in scope after that sampler being executed. So here we are printing the data like start time, response code, everything. So this is the use case of the previous keyword here. So for more methods and classes, you can check this link. So next we are going to cover the log. So log we have already covered a lot, log.info, log.debug. But here you can also print whether the debug is enabled or not, or info is enabled or not, or warning is enabled or not. And similarly, you can use log.error, log.warn, log.getName, etc. So if I run this particular piece of code, you can see the Boolean output because we are just checking whether it is enabled or not. But if you want to change some of the log levels, you can make use of the options log level and then you can change it here. Next, we will see about the label variable. Label variable, you can use it directly anywhere in your JSR223 post processor or pre-processor or the sampler. So here we are just printing the label name. So if I run this particular piece of code, it will just execute, it will just print the label name of the sampler. And also you can use the inline interpolation, which just prints the log info in the console. So if you just see the log.info, you can see the my sample name is JSR223 sample name. So this is called inline interpolation in Groovy. So I hope this session is pretty useful, and in next video we will cover the rest of the JSR223 variables. And thanks for watching. If you have time, please go to my next tutorial. Have a good day.
If you like my dad's videos, please subscribe to QA Insights channel.